as many of you know, I used to play basketball, but I haven't been playing as much lately. Been staying in shape, but in basketball, I worry a little bit about ankles, knees. You know, there's a sign of age. A little more golf.
I know you played Curry.
Yeah.
If you have the best game of your life, and he's having an okay game, and it's a game of 10, what do you think the score would be? The best game of your life.
10-0 Curry. Steph Curry is a wonderful young man, but he's very competitive, and I don't think he'd let me score.
Now, Mr. President, you spoke about globalization, and there are a lot of studies that show that the youth in Asia are very upbeat about globalization. They think it's a great part of their future. They're very positive about it. In China, Korea, India, and other places, they think globalization will lift them upward. So the question is, what can they learn from the experience of the youth in Western countries who also had globalization, and once were upbeat, but some of them are down and pessimistic about it. What can Asian youth learn from it so in the next 20 years they can also become winners?
Well, I think it's a great question. There's a good reason why Asian youth should be upbeat, because in their lifetimes they've seen a continuing increase in standards of living throughout Asia. I told you the difference between Jakarta in 1967 and today, but that's true in Malaysia, it's true in Singapore, it's true in Thailand, it's true in Taiwan, and obviously it's true in China as well. So there has been a transformation across Asia which makes people optimistic. Studies show that people, how they feel is determined not so much by absolute income, but do they feel as if there's been a positive trend? Do they feel like the future is going to be better than the past? And the challenge in a lot of developed countries, in Western countries, is that even though per capita people are still much more wealthy, there is a fear that maybe those economies have peaked and now the prospects for the next generation will be lessened. Now, I don't share that pessimism, but I think some people feel it. Here's the lesson I think that's important, is that government policy has to help to shape growth so that all people benefit and not just a few. I'll give you a very specific example. We know that because of automation, the number of jobs in manufacturing will decline as a country becomes wealthier, because people invest in robots and they invest in mechanization, and what that means is that you need fewer people today to make a car than you needed 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. If you go into an automobile factory today, maybe there are 100 people in a factory that is the size of a soccer field. It used to be that they employed 1,000 people. Now they're employing 100. So those trends aren't going to change. What that means then is that you're going to have more workers, and they have to find ways in which they can make a living in a service-based economy, which means teachers and health workers and artists and creative people. And that means that we have to invest in the training of our young people, because they're not just going to be working on an assembly line. It means we have to give them more knowledge, because that's going to be how they can increase their incomes. And if a country does not make those investments early on, then people become resentful because they feel left behind. So